It was a real back and forth about who would be on this mission, who wouldn't be on this mission. The Dirty Dozen obviously came to mind. Everybody has a good reason to hate everybody else.
I mean, it's definitely got that, gathering together these kind of misfits. A bunch of our favorite characters, many of whom have never been on screen together, but who all find themselves at the end of the world for one reason or another. And so getting Tormund back in the picture, the Hound and Jon and Beric and Jorah, it's a fun group.
The sequence had been so well conceived on a visual level by Alan and his team. To do that with hundreds of people and weather and visual effects and fire with lots of moving parts and still have that sense of artistry about it takes a different level of directing.
3, 2, 1.
Our story is 7 guys on a rock being attacked by wights and trying to tell a clear story of, your task is to defend a perimeter, and as you lose, your perimeter is going to fall back, and how do you kind of hold order against just pure chaos? It's, herding kittens. It's, you can't see anything except people whacking each other, and it takes some effort to talk to the cast to sort of say, no, the story is, here's a line, and we have to show that it's not being broken or that it is being broken. It was important to create a situation where I'm hoping the audience will think that one of our beloved characters is going to die.
I mean, we wrote it and we were watching it, and I was like, holy shit, Tormund's gonna die. But somehow, he managed to override my rational brain and make me think that Tormund was gonna die.
No matter how great your visual effects are or your art department and everything, there's just nothing quite like the real thing if you can find it. Iceland exists, and it's real, and it's cold as hell, and it's beautiful, and there's just nothing like having that reality on screen.
It doesn't look like anywhere else. Half the time, it doesn't even look real, and I worry that people are gonna think the blues of those glaciers are some kind of cheap special effect. The more spectacular looking it is, the more difficult it is to shoot there.
I think there's a sort of kick-bollock scrambleness to filming out here, where you have such limited daylight and you have conditions which are like this or worse. It just gives it a sense of reality,
In the world of Thrones, it's great coming to these landscapes that just really kind of arc back in time and take you to something very, very brutal and barren.
There's an extent to which nothing ever surprises you on this job anymore, but this, you still can't help but be impressed by this. I mean, it's nuts.
You can't get to this location without literally monster jeeps. It's a hell of a way to go to work.
The Icelandic technical crew for setting up the base camp have to have everything ready, and they have to do that obviously under cover of darkness. So the crew, when they arrive, everything is ready to go.
When we're shooting on the glacier, everyone's got the crampons strapped onto their boots because otherwise you'll slip, and even with the crampons, we had a bunch of guys falling and banging themselves up, but luckily no major injuries this year.
What we had to go through to get the zombie polar bear was writing the zombie polar bear into every season of the show for about 4 seasons.
We thought they'd be so excited to do a zombie bear, and it's kind of like, oh my God, they're serious about doing this fucking zombie bear.
Only to have Bernie and the visual effects guys tell us in the nicest possible way, fuck you, we cannot afford a zombie polar bear. This year made perfect sense that you could have one of these things out there, and we really put our 4 feet down and we said, God damn it, we want a zombie polar bear.
We looked at some of the beats, the way the polar bear in the previews that we got, how it spots the guy's way, how it picks someone up and shakes him around, and then we get our wires in and start rehearsing with guys using different methods to pull someone around and get the right body shapes and the right energy.
Everything's made sure it's super safe first. We test everything over and over again, usually with a weight bag, and when we're happy that it's safe to have someone on, we get someone on.
We were holding a flaming sword in the jaws of this thing, so the big guy was able to move the head around, which was something for our actor on the floor to work against.
I've never really worked with this ping pong ball thing and pretend that's a bear, and I've had people going, oh, when I'll come towards you, I'm a bear. No, you're not. Your name's Toby.
most of the heavy lifting of the sequence. That was all in Wolf Hill Quarry in Belfast.
It's one of those things where, you know, when you film something in another location and then you're responsible for finishing that location off somewhere else, you have to really do your homework and try and make sure that you match it as best you can so that then Alan would have an entrance for the characters. When you stand up on the top and look down, it was like we were building, I don't know, an airport or something. The scale of it is enormous.
We built nature. No, sometimes I walk out there and I think we're crazy people.
We had a really tricky time trying to work out what a frozen lake looks like and how we can achieve that. And that went from a compacted quarry floor to putting concrete down to a nice flat finish, and then there had to be hues of colour that had to be added to that. Then we had to work out how the ice would look, trying to make that look three-dimensional and as if it was transparent ice. All these things are really, really tricky.
Stop!